We don't wanna be enemies. I got men with me, I got wings. You gon' step in my ship, you gon' mess with the king.
Welcome to Morphanime. What's up, my Morphanimaniacs? How's your week going? I want to review chapter 1074 of the One Piece manga. The greatest manga ever created. Yes! Not necessarily this chapter, but as a whole, fantastic. As you all know, you wouldn't be here if you didn't think One Piece was absolutely fantastic. So let's just dive right in. That's what I'm thinking. We just get right into the meat and potatoes. But first, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, on the cover of chapter 1074, we get to see Caesar, Judge, and Queen battling it out. They're much older than they were in the first cover story that showed the members of Mads. It is weird that, like, in the first one, you get to see, old school Stussy in the background, like, or Stussy's original, I assume, Stussy, or Weevil's mother, a young version of Weevil's mother, and we still haven't seen her yet in these cover stories. It's kind of only been about Judge, Caesar, Vega Punk, and Queen. But this one here is only about these three, and they're battling it out. They're having a big old fight. You can see that Caesar has his smoke fruit ability. Was it a gas fruit ability now? So he can't be stabbed by old Judgy. And Judge, he can't really hurt Caesar because he probably does not have hockey, because he relies too much on technology that he hasn't developed hockey, so he can't hurt a Logia without Sea Stone Prism. Ha-ha! But they're fighting to be the number 2 scientist in all the lands. I mean, honestly, if they want to fight, they might as well just try and assassinate old Vega Punk, and then they could be numero 10. But they're just going to fight each other to see who number 2 is. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of this cover story, to be honest. It's like, it's not even about Germa 66, except for Judge at this point. Maybe it'll lead to how it was developed, I'm not sure, but I'm just kind of over it. I'm ready for a new cover story, Oda. I know you're trying to tell this little Vega Punk backstory without having to put it in the actual manga, but I'm really gonna be interested in how the anime adapts this cover story, because they haven't adapted all the cover stories. They've only adapted 1 or 2, and they've kind of just let the other ones fall by the wayside. And I think it's kind of dumb because they're all intertwined into the actual story, and they're very important, especially this one. But this chapter kicks off with new pacifistas, not the Sephirim, but pacifistas Mark III, I believe, and they explain very annoyingly the CP9, CP0 agents who are being attacked and herded away from Egghead Island into a box, I assume, or some kind of cell, being locked up. They're explaining to us while fighting the pacifista, this is not the same kind of pacifista that fought in the Paramount War. This is a perfected version, and it now has a bubble shield. And I'm not sure if the bubble shield is a devil fruit ability, kind of like how the Seraphim have devil fruits, but the pacifistas never really showed to have devil fruit abilities, but maybe they do now. Maybe they have the power of the paw fruit. But he can create a shield now with his right hand, shoot lasers with his left hand. Sweet. The soldiers are wondering, what the hell is going on with these pacifistas? Why are they attacking us? It makes no sense. Who's commanding them? And believe it or not, Oda throws us another fake-out death. I mean, none of us really believed that Sentomaru was actually dead. I kind of had a little bit of hope that since we were in the final saga that, Oda was starting to stop pulling his punches on deaths. I'm not saying deaths are absolutely necessary to tell a story, but Sentomaru looked pretty dead. And it was kind of an honorable death. He's, dying for the man, Vega Punk, who rescued him from poverty, gave him food, gave him a purpose and whatnot, kind of put him at the high tippity top of the Marines and whatnot, and prove that he has loyalty to everybody by sticking by. But he gets all fixed up by the residents or robots of Egghead Island. They fix up his injuries. Even though he had a fucking Lucci fist drove through his body, he still survived. That's fine. And he decides to activate all 50 perfected Mark III pacifistas. I'm happy the pacifista is still part of the army that Vega Punk was putting together. I'm happy that they're a thing still. The Sephirim are cool, but I mean, the pacifistas are classic, and these are better versions of them. I assume they're strong enough to handle hockey users. They're strong enough to contend with some people, maybe even people as powerful as Brooke or Frankie, but not somebody like Sanji or Zoro. It's probably where I would put the Pacifistas Mark III at their power at level, if you want to give it that. But he activates, Sentomaru activates 50 of them and says, screw it, the Marines have cut me off from communication, so I don't know what they're doing. They're obviously on their way here to do something nefarious, probably a buster call, so I'm just going to use all the power I have left, and that is to control these pacifistas, and there's 50 of them, and I'm going to not only lock up the remaining members of Cypher Pole, but I'm also going to send as many as possible to the shoreline and, keep an eye out for some Marine battleships, because we're going to make sure Dr. Vegapunk gets off this island. Speaking of Dr. Vegapunk is missing. If you remember, I believe last chapter, Vegapunk was turned into a baby and then, left to crawl around on the ground while Bonnie went and looked through Kuma's memories, and that's kind of where we left off with those two. Vegapunk can't be found. He's nowhere to be found. And last time we saw him, he was a baby who I don't believe could walk. So my guess is somebody took him. First guess would be old Mud Fruit fella. What is his damn... Caribou. Caribou is my first guess because that fella, he's just wandering around Egghead Island. I'm wondering if maybe Vegapunk talked him into helping him get around, or Vegapunk was just kidnapped. Because, think about it. Caribou's like, I'll take Vegapunk and sell him, just like he was going to do to Shirahoshi. That seems like Caribou's MO. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe he's just using Vegapunk to get off the island, but he's really making some bad choices. I don't really like Caribou, and I know he's going to play a minor role in the end of the Egghead Island arc, and I hope it is his demise, to be honest with you. I hope he did take Vegapunk, and I hope that Sanji finds him and just kicks him in the face and he never returns again. That's probably not going to happen, but that's my first guess. Either that, or there is a traitor amongst the Vegapunk satellite bodies. I've heard that theory from people like Tekking 101 has mentioned that, and that's a big deal. If I had to guess out of the satellite bodies, I guess it would be old Lilith, since she's the evil one, but it almost seems too obvious, and Lilith was very gung-ho on fighting back against the world government, whereas I guess the only other member that would make the most sense is the numero one, Shaka, I believe is his name, Shaka, the one with the helmet. He's kind of suspicious. He's been too nice this whole time. He did lock the crew's boots on the ground in like some kind of magnet way for a hot minute, like keeping them imprisoned. He could be secretly working with the government this entire time, just trying to hold maybe he put, Vegapunk's, regular body away, the Stella body away, the baby, hid him away, so then the Straw Hats have to hang out and wait until Kizaru and the one of the five elders, Saturn, gets there and starts buster calling the shit out of Egghead Island. The only way I can see the government having full control over the Pacifista army And the Sephirim that they're going to need in the final war, in my opinion, is if they have one of the Vegapunks to command them or keep them on their side. Because I assume Vegapunk put some kind of protocol within them to keep them from continuously trying to attack him or his allies. But if another Vegapunk decides to turn on the other Vegapunks, then maybe he could reprogram them so they won't listen to original Vegapunk and only listen to Shaka. Big things are coming here, folks. We get to see Bonnie inside the memories of Akuma, and that shit was sad as F. I gotta say, that stuff was dark. That stuff, I can't wait to see that whole memory. That's only part of it. I can't wait to see that whole scene done in the anime because it's going to be emotional as F. And I think that it's pretty sad just seeing baby Kuma or childhood Kuma just getting beat by some randos. It's hard to tell what exactly is going on. I mean, Tekking 101 said that he thinks that Kuma was a slave and he was getting beat by the other slaves because he wanted to escape, or he didn't want to be a slave anymore, and they're telling him, hey, if you don't go along with the program, buddy boy, big boy Kuma, we are all gonna die. So get your shit together. And he doesn't care. He's like, what kind of existence is this? And you kind of see a silhouette of the stupid ass celestial dragons in the background, so it's not 100% clear what's going on there, but it seems sad as heck, and Bonnie can barely handle it, gets ejected out of the memory, and goes, I need to go back in there, but this time with more determination. And we get to see old Kuma still climbing that red line, heading up to the celestial dragons to cause some demise, is my only guess. The original Kuma might be going there to assault some celestial dragons, or maybe to prove a point. Maybe he's going to go up there and self-destruct, causing an explosion, destroying the red line. It'd be insane. But we all know that Luffy is destined to destroy the red line over Fishman Island, so I don't know how it's going to work out, but a lot of weird threads are happening. Speaking of Luffy, Luffy's been running around looking for Bonnie at full power. I don't know what's going on with Luffy, but he looks really tired. It's like Goku with the heart virus when he was fighting Android 19. You're seeing Goku get tired, and you're like, what is happening? Goku doesn't get tired. Same with Luffy. Luffy doesn't get tired. Unless he gets hungry, actually. He could be hungry. Luffy could be hungry. He ate a lot of food beforehand, though, but it's been a hot minute. But he used Gear 5 against Lucci, and it does seem that Gear 5 could be causing more of a repercussion to Luffy's body than we're, privy to. So Gear 5 might have more negatives than positives. We might find out that Gear 5 is a very limited transformation. Yes, it's OP as shiz, but maybe Luffy will be limited to a certain time limit using it, and once he uses it, even though it takes X amount of minutes to go back into it, it's weaker every time, and it damages his body, possibly permanently, and he's already had some damage done back at Impel Down by Ivankov, and we all know that story, so I won't repeat it. But Luffy's been running around. He's exhausted. He's like, I'm done looking. I don't know where Bonnie is. And Shaka's like, I know where Bonnie is. She's on the camera. We just can't find Vegapunk. And Luffy's like, why didn't you say that sooner? Zoro's like, I'll go look for Vegapunk. And you see Sanji going, no. You will not be looking for anybody, oh Zoro, pal. Actually, I don't like you at all, Mosshead, but I don't want to go looking for you next. You're going to sit right here, keep an eye on Luffy, who's really tired, and also keep an eye on the lifeless bodies who are still alive, but they're knocked out. Kaku and Lucci, who I hope still have a role to play here since they're still showing them. They aren't just leaving their bodies somewhere. They brought them, they're in prison. Maybe they'll be thrown onto the Straw Hat cruise ship. Maybe Lucci will eventually turn babyface and get convinced that, the government's the problem. Like his old damn fucking CP0 cover story explained to us years ago. But I guess we're just going to ignore all that. Just going to ignore that. That's what we're going to do, huh? Lucci's cover story meant nothing. We still don't know why Lucci rejoined the government, and at this point, I don't give a shit. Because, Lucci decided to go back to them, and it doesn't seem like he is as important as I thought he would be in the very end, and that's on me. We get to see Stussy and Zoro and Brooke in new futuristic outfits, and this was the moment I was like, Egghead Island ain't even close to being done. I'm thinking Egghead Island is about at the halfway mark. Please mark my words. I believe it, because why would you waste your time, unless it's to sell toys, which could be very possible, giving Brooke, Zoro, and Stussy new futuristic outfits if you're going to end the Egghead Island arc anytime soon? You know what I mean? Like, why would they waste their time doing that if they weren't going to do some more with these cool outfits? Zoro's outfit looks dope. Stussy's looks a little revealing. I mean, I don't understand the whole, like, what's it called? Almost bathing suit-like bottoms that Stussy and Nico Robin are wearing. I mean, what's the point? They need to explain that a little more. I'm guessing it's because Vega Punk is a pervert and he decided the women's outfits look like that. And it's not a big deal. It's just like, what's the dealio? Because not all the women have it. I mean, Nami has pants. What's the choice? Who makes the decisions here on who gets pants and who doesn't? It would have been funny if Zoro walked in with bikini top bottoms, but he looked badass in his. That's a toy that is possibly worth buying, is Zoro's. Best outfit of the entire arc next to Jinbei's. So the crew goes out looking for Vega Punk Senior, numero uno, the number one guy, the original Vega Punk, still is lost, not to be found. Zoro's chilling. Everybody's going out there. Stussy and Sanji are together, running around looking. Sanji's like, I'll go with you, Stussy, madam. And it was pretty funny. We even get to see Sanji simping over, God, what's her name? York, the 6th or 5th Vega Punk, I think 6th. York, the glutton or whatever, because she went and did another dump ski and now is all thin again, and he's just like, I didn't realize how tall York was. York is like giant, like Whitebeard's height level. Maybe to fit all that food for 6 or 7 people that she's eaten for, but Sanji was simping for her, Sanji was simping for fucking Stussy. It's a whole thing with Sanji. I do feel like Sanji, Chopper, most of the characters in this arc, maybe because they're kind of taking a back seat for Vegapunk's development and maybe some other character development, it does feel like the Straw Hats aren't the priority here right now. There's too many other threads going on. We know who they are, is what I'm guessing Oda's thinking. You know who these characters are. We're not revealing any new abilities. We did all that shit in Wano. This is about developing characters we've been hinting at for years and storylines that we've been hinting at for years. So don't worry about Chopper, Sanji, or Frankie doing anything important. Even though I thought this was going to be Frankie's arc, Frankie says one thing. He's like, why should we go looking around for Vegapunk if you have all these fucking snail cameras? Hey? Huh? Shaka? Shaka's like, well, some of those damn snail cameras got destroyed by the Sephirim who were going crazy not too long ago. Like 10 minutes ago. Blew them up. R.I.P. Snail cams. But then we jump from all this to finding out the location of a very important character, a almost Straw Hat, or I consider her a Straw Hat already, Vivi Nefertari. We find out that she is not with Imu-sama. No, she is with Big News Morgan. Yes! Vivi is hiding out with Big News Morgan. I'm assuming she and Wapol are together, which is weird. I'm like, oh my god, Wapol? This is like bringing Foxy back into the main story. This is great. I'm stoked, because like Wapol's not my favorite character or anything, but I love when Oda decides to give a character some kind of redemption, or just give them a little bit more character. You know, Wapol doesn't deserve a redemption. He's not that kind of character. I don't know what his game plan is with Wapol, why he's in trouble, but he's with Vivi too, and they're just hiding out on the blimp thing that fucking Big News Morgan has, and they're just running around, and I'm guessing the reason Vivi was put as kidnapped by Sabo, I believe, in the news was because Big News Morgan was like, cool, you hide here, and then I can put it as a headline for my newspaper. Sweet. And we get to see Big News Morgan reading this information he got, going, oh, it looks like the government's attacking old Vega Punk ski. What idiots are they? If that news gets out, then they're all going to be screwed, because the people love Vega Punk. They're going to turn on the government because Vega Punk brought power to most of the world. In the translation, it says all of the world, but if you look at like the four blues, there's probably not too much technology compared to what's on the Grand Line. Maybe it's changed over the last 2 years, but I don't remember electricity being a big thing in the East Blue. Could be wrong though. But either way, please comment down below, let me know if you saw any technology in the East Blue when we were there so long ago. Maybe it's expanded over the last 2-year time skip. But either way, he finds out that Luffy's on the island with Vega Punk and decides to spin the story into some big news, big headline. Oh yeah, it's not about the truth, it's about entertainment. And that's what the newspaper is about, is what he explains to Vivi, because Vivi's like, this is the reason I don't read the Inquirer. I mean, I don't read your stupid paper, your news coup paper, because it's all lies. Or it's twisted truths, just like my kidnapping. I hope that Vivi... I'm so glad she's okay, because she's one of the best female characters, and former villain, which is crazy, Miss Wednesday, all those cool things. I'd love to see her dropped off on the Straw Hat crew, officially joining the crew for the rest of the series. Maybe going back to fucking Alabasta or Alabarna, whatever, going back there to become the queen someday. In a year or so, however long they decide to keep adventuring. But I would love to see Vivi as part of this final saga, couple arcs, interacting with the new members of the crew, getting that emotional talking to with Nico Robin, who was Miss All Sunday, who was kind of her enemy, who was attacking her her island for years. So it's kind of interesting to see their interactions together. I'm sure she'll be easily explaining, like, hey, Nico Robin's a great person. She saved our ass. She's part of this crew. She's part of this Nakama. Get the hell out of here, Viva. We love you both. Please just both be here. That could be what's going down with old Vivi. But I want Vivi to join the crew. I'm glad she's okay. But now we just don't have to worry about her no more. But it does make me wonder, like, was Emu going to take her? Because he had the piece of paper with her face on it. And, like, it does seem weird that she got away. And it does seem weird that she has Wapple with her. And it's like, where's the rest of her squad? Where's Igaram? He was with her at the Reverie. Where's the other princesses? Are they okay? Questions are running through my brain. We're still waiting to see what's going on with Law and Blackbeard. Seems very important. Still waiting for Kizaru to get his ass over to Egghead Island. They must be taking the long way, because I am so ready for a Kizaru showdown. I am really not... I'm interested in Saturn's abilities, but I'm more interested in seeing Kizaru kick some absolute ass, because he's one of my favorite villains in the entire series, and he is so cool. And so big it is. And he's got one of the best devil fruits in the entire series. One of the scariest types of characters. Just vicious as all hell. Very evil, chaotic good, I guess you can call him. This is more Fanime. What did you think of Chapter 1074? I really liked it. I'm happy to see Vivi back. Big News Morgan is an obvious villain because of the way he helps the government, and they pay him off to, not put too many things in the newspaper, even though they didn't want him to say anything about the, Gear 5. He must have had no other spin on it. They didn't want him to put the picture of Gear 5 in the newspaper, but he did it anyway. But here, he's helping the government out, so he's kind of flippy-floppy there, but they must pay the boy a lot to make the government look decent. Again, don't forget to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe. I'll talk to you later.